Sometimes it's just best to get your foot in the door. Do you know how I got in the door at 7? I am the only practicing lawyer in the tri-state that's on the freaking radio of 50,000 watts radio. You know how I got in the door? I offered to be a substitute radio talk show host for free. And I got a phone call one day, and they asked me to do it for free. I got my foot in the door. Sometimes you just want to get your foot in the door in negotiations. In this bad economy, a lot of people out of work have effectively said, hey, I'll work for you for free just to help you, and if you like me, hire me. Well, human nature is if somebody's a sucker enough to let you work for them for free, you're going to feel guilty and you're going to start paying them. I know. If somebody starts showing up working for free, unless you have no conscience, you're going to start paying them. Although I've heard stories where people just take advantage of them. Be creative. That's one of my strengths. Be creative. Think outside the box. No matter what field you're in, don't do the old cookie cutter stuff. When I try a case, I blow away the competition. And you know why? I argue to a jury like there are 12 people in my living room, and I'm trying to convince them that the Dallas Cowboys are better than the Bengals. You got to be yourself. And when you're in negotiations, be creative. Be creative. Bluff if you want. Bluff. In negotiations, sometimes you bluff. You know, lawyers, we don't lie to judges. We don't lie to our clients. You know who we lie to every single day? Other lawyers. Bill, my client ain't going to let me settle this unless we get 10 grand. Reality, God dang, whatever you give me, we're going to take. In business negotiations, same thing. Happens all the time. You can bluff. We all eat crow sometimes. I eat crow every day. Everything, oh, the bulldog, big tough lawyer. Yeah, baloney. Man, there's cases that I get, I think it's good, it falls apart. And I got to eat crow. Dismiss, walk away. Well, that didn't turn out. I eat crow every day. And in business negotiations, sometimes you got to eat crow. Be careful the details don't derail you. I can talk about this publicly because he's talked about it publicly. Tracy Jones, who does radio. I did his prenuptial agreement when he got married. You know how many pages it is? 2. I've seen prenuptial agreements by big Cincinnati law firms that are this thick. Cost $15,000. My 2-page is just as effective as that one that thick. People get caught. There's nothing worse when you turn over a business deal. And those of you that aren't going to be in law and you're going to be in business, you're going to turn over a business deal to lawyers. Oh, my God. The lawyers will make it more complicated and a disaster. All in the spirit, they're looking out for you. They're looking out for you. And they get the details. Don't let the details derail you. For example, if you've got a deal and the price is the most important thing, get that price. Now, don't allow the details to block the big picture, what you're negotiating. Now, I love the movie Tombstone. Val Kilmer's portrayal of Doc Holliday, beautiful. I'll be your huckleberry. I write that in letters sometimes. I love that. I start out the letter, I'll be your huckleberry. Isn't that a daisy? Wyatt, you're an oak. I actually wrote down all the damn lines from Tombstone that I like. So, the end of the movie, remember what Doc Holliday tells Wyatt Earp? My hypocrisy knows no bounds. We are all hypocrites over something, okay? All great men and women have some flaws. I have plenty of flaws. We're all hypocrites to some extent. So, after telling you, don't let the details mess up, I'm being hypocritical. A small detail can make a difference. Words matter. You can have a big, long contract, and whether a word is a plural or a singular can make a difference. Here's a great example. In business negotiations, probably no more important word is gross sales net sales. You all know that from being a business major. There's a big difference between, are you going to get a percentage in a franchise? Snappy Tomato Pizza, they pay us 5% of their gross sales. Look how much less money we would make if it was 5% of net sales. One word can make a difference. Don't draw a line in the sand. You know what happens? You end up eating crow. We're in the negotiations on a case where we said we want $50,000 by Friday at 5 o'clock, or we're not going to negotiate further. Guess what? 5 o'clock came. They didn't pay the $50,000. We're still negotiating. It was stupid. By the way, it wasn't my idea. I let another lawyer talk me into it. But don't draw a line in the sand. Lose the ego. Lose the ego. I crack up at the number of people. I got clients that tell me this. Well, why are we meeting at their office? Shouldn't we be meeting at your office? Because that makes it look, who gives a damn? We're going to negotiate, I'll go anywhere. People get caught up on all that stuff. Whose desk you sit by? Do you sit behind the desk or in front of the desk? Positions of power. That's a bunch of crap. Lose the ego. It's fun to have a cannon. In your negotiations, back to my Al Capone, if you hold a cannon, and I've held a cannon before and it's fun. In other words, your case is so good, your business deal is so good, and they're just stuck dealing with it. Can you imagine in high corporate world right now, Microsoft, Oracle, IBM, Google, Yahoo, and you know Intel, all those companies, they are fighting each other and they have to partner with each other. Can you imagine some of the deals that are going on, and every once in a while one of them has the upper hand on them? You know, like Google says, you know, too bad, Microsoft. If you want to do X, Y, Z, you got to do A, B, C. And, oh, damn, they got to do it. Can you imagine? But when you have a cannon, you negotiate from strength. What angles do you have? Very important. Timing is everything. Remember that? There's angles that you can play. Play those angles. Who they are, the timing of it. You have information, inside information that makes a difference in the deal. Use it. Sometimes there is not a win-win. Sometimes someone must lose. Stephen Covey has made a living out of it. Win-win. Let's all get together in a room, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and we all win. Sometimes that works. Fox Sports Nets and the Reds. My guess is when they negotiate a deal, Fox Sports Nets wins, the Reds win with revenue. Sometimes there's a win-win. But you know what? Sometimes somebody has to freaking lose. Publicity is a weapon. I can't tell you the number of people that come to see me because they're like, man, I've watched you and you're a master of getting publicity in cases. And we want the world to know how terrible this guy is. Very powerful, but it has to be played. I get accused all the time of being a publicity hound. I don't care. It's good for business. But I can't tell you the number of cases, 99% of them, they're settled quietly and the world never knows about them. Scandal. I represented a woman that was statutorily raped by a huge rock star last year. Nobody ever heard about it. It was resolved. Did I use publicity in my negotiations, do you think? I could have ended a band. I could have ended a band. Talk to the client. Do you want revenge or do you want money? A lawsuit's a weapon. Why? The news media do not like to talk about scandalous things unless it's in a lawsuit because it protects them from libel and slander. They can say the lawsuit says, boom, 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 boom. And filing a lawsuit can be devastating. For example, I do police misconduct, I do medical malpractice, I do personal injury, car accident work, products liability, class action, high-profile criminal things. You're going to think I'm a bad person to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. I went to high school with a bunch of guys that became doctors. I was never close personal friends with them, but I went to high school with them. I had medical malpractice cases against 2 of them, okay? The one guy, and I got along with him okay. It was a small case, and I tried to resolve it before I had to file it. But I told my client, I said, this guy is not going to settle, and he didn't. The other one, I knew his personality. I said, he's not going to want to go through any of this. It'll settle, and it did. You have to know who you're dealing with. There are personalities. Like, for example, me, a weapon that I have, I don't give a damn. Somebody comes after me with something, I say, I don't care. Well, we're going to get some negative publicity. I said, are you kidding me? I said, I get in a fight in the public, everybody's, Bulldog's just fighting with somebody. There's other lawyers, I swear to God, if they got a bar complaint against them, a lawsuit against them, or some negative publicity, they would freaking pass out. I've seen it happen. Information is power. You all know that. Do you really want to fire the cannon? Sometimes you don't want to fire the cannon. You fire the cannon, you can't take the cannon back. And by the way, let me tell you something. I do this all the time. There are some people that do not deserve to be sued. I make a judgment call all the time. I've done this. I got a case, somebody screwed up, and I know that the person I'm going to sue is a really good person. Made a mistake. And I will tell the client, I'm sorry, I can't sue them. I just can't sue them. Examples, religious people. I've had some people that I just couldn't sue them. Misinformation is power. I'm going to give you a tip. There's nothing more powerful than sending out misinformation. You can send it out. You're in a business negotiations. For example, let's say you're negotiating a deal. Let's say you own a patent and you're trying to get a deal with a certain company. Wouldn't it be awesome if somehow the company you're negotiating with thought you were negotiating with another company too, even though you weren't? And you get that information to them? My God, we better get a deal. Somebody else is misinformation, power. Sun 2, divide and conquer. Read Sun 2. Very good for negotiations. Fear and greed. You know what those are? The 2 biggest. I challenge you to come up with a third one. These are the 2 biggest motivators in life. The 2 biggest motivators in negotiations. Businesses, their fear. They're fearing losing out. They're fearing getting the contract. Their fear. And then greed. They want more money, more power. Fear and greed. Always factor that in your negotiations.